I just saw Wicked and we have to talk about it right now. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to set the scene for you a little bit. I saw Wicked at a theater in downtown Fort Wayne. It's a great little spot for me to go see it, and I loved that theater. A lot more quaint than going to your local AMC or whatever like that, and I would much rather go see it with that kind of a situation. They also had a great little room behind where they kind of hyped you up a little bit ahead of time. They had a little video about Judy Garland. It was a great thing. It was so much fun to watch. But then after that, we went straight in to go see the movie. And I have to give a little bit of preface here. So the very first time, and I'm going to expose how much of a mama's boy I was as a kid also in this. But as a kid, I went to go see Wicked. Oh, my lights aren't on. I'll turn my lights on. There we go. It's much easier to see my face now. As a kid, I went to go see Wicked when I was in high school. I think I was a sophomore. I don't really remember, and that's not really important. But my family, or my mom, went with us. And it was like a high school show choir thing where we were all hanging out together to go see it. I remember the musical starting out and just thinking, this is not going to be very fun. And a lot of it was that I was in a bad mood because I had said something about, I'd gone to sit with like some friends, and I was like, oh no, I want to go sit by my mom. And my music teacher or my show choir teacher was just, he was like, no, you're not going to sit there. Go sit where you were before. And I was like just so mad starting out because I was like, I can't sit next to my mom. This isn't going to be fun to watch. I'm a mama's boy, apparently. But as I started, I remember just being like, this is going to be such a stupid musical. And then I started watching it at the very beginning as Glinda comes in, and then piece by piece, I just got drawn into this story against my own will. And to be honest, that's the exact experience that I had watching it this time. So let's get into it just a little bit. This is going to be spoiler free. Let's go. So as the movie starts, I had this immediate feel where they're in Munchkin Land. It's a lot of bright colors. It felt very much like a Disney live action remake at the very beginning of the movie. Coming in, I wasn't that won over at the very beginning. Ariana Grande also hits this like really insanely high note. She's real showy, all that kind of stuff. And of course she is. It's part of her character, but we don't need to get into that right now because that's not the purpose of this video. We're not like analyzing every single part, but as the story continued, it started out feeling a little bit superficial, which if you know the story of Wicked, that actually makes a lot of sense. But then you get drawn into this story. You start seeing these practical effects. You start seeing these insanely, amazingly built sets, and you just can't help yourself. You get inundated with their story. You get completely immersed in what's happening to them. One of the hugest things that I saw in this time coming to see it, because I'm saying that because I'm going to go see this movie like 3 more times, and then we'll get a spoiler review after that. I'll give like some really strong spoilers and talk about every single detail that I can think of after I've seen it a couple more times. But with this movie, it was so amazing to watch how you could get drawn into the faces of these characters that you've loved. So like I said, I went to go see this musical in Chicago when I was in 10th grade, I think. Immediately started listening to the soundtrack. I found bootlegs online. I just couldn't get enough Wicked. Wicked was the musical that it was probably the most shaping musical that I've ever seen. And I love musicals anyway, but that one really, really shaped the way I view the world and what I think about people and the way we should understand each other and love each other and things like that. But this musical just took all of that and created this incredibly immersive experience. And then on top of that, now you can actually look into the eyes of Elphaba and Glinda and you can see their pain, and you can see their hurt, and you can see their nuances, because both Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande are incredible in this movie. Like, there is nothing that's so good about it other than the way these two women play these characters. They are fantastic. And you just see so many nuances in their expressions, in the way that they view the world, and especially the huge scene for me that just brought me to my knees was the scene of Elphaba having, well, I don't want to give spoilers, but there's a dancing scene that Elphaba does, and you can see the pain and the emotion on her face. You can see how she'd been looking for acceptance and love for her entire life, and she had that all ripped away from her, even while she thought maybe she was going to get a little bit of that acceptance, and then she finds some acceptance in an unlikely place. And that's all I'll say about it. But because of that, you can see as it sets in on her that, first of all, people are making fun of her, and then secondly, that someone has decided to accept her and love her and make her feel what she's always wanted. It kills me. It killed me. I couldn't stop. I just immediately was feeling what she was feeling, because you can look into her eyes and you can see what she's feeling. It plays so differently from the musical, and yet it plays complementarily, I think, to the musical. And that's another part of this also. Each part of the musical, it feels in spirit and in every part of it exactly the way that Wicked feels in the musical when you actually go to see it on Broadway or off Broadway. But at the same time, of course, they've adapted it, and they've adapted it in such a complimentary way, in a way where they're taking nothing away from the musical that you saw, but you are seeing additional nuances in the way that they view the world. On top of that, seeing Cynthia Erivo play this as a woman of color and singing as a Black woman, and having this additional layer of nuance to having the color of her skin change the way people perceive her and the way that the world acts toward her, just adds an additional layer to the musical that just makes it even better. Of course, we've seen lots of Broadway predecessors do all kinds of things like that, but again, you've never been able to look into the eyes of the people who are playing, like Eden Espinosa. You've never been able to look into their eyes and actually see the pain and the hurt and the nuances and the little bits of like tears barely filling up their eyes. You've never been able to see that in a musical before, because of course you can't. It's on Broadway. You play to big audiences, and in this case you don't. That's actually another thing that I loved about this too. They didn't play it like a musical. They didn't play it like a Broadway musical. They played it like a lot of what they were singing and saying was more understated until the end, and then it's very overstated, but that's very intentional. You can feel the intention there. But when they're actually in a conversation that is a discussion with other people, they're treating it as a discussion. They're not treating it as though they're singing to a stage that is surrounded by hundreds of people around them and they're singing to the back seats. They're not doing that. They're singing to just the person that's next to them, just like they would actually have a conversation. Again, it doesn't take anything away from the musical that preceded it, but it does change the way that you view the musical, and it complements the musical and then changes this for this fantastic film that was just everything. I will say every single set that I saw, I went to go see it with a friend, and every single set that I saw in this musical, I wanted to go be in that set. And it's made by Universal Studios. Universal Studios is blowing up, but I think they've realized that they have run their final stretch with Epic Universe of doing Harry Potter stuff. And you can feel the Harry Potter all through this story. Now, it's more bright, it's not as desaturated, it's much more saturated and exciting and colorful and beautiful. It felt very much like a mixture of their new Mario or Nintendo Land versus also their Harry Potter world. It was like they mixed the two together, and it just created this whole new world of fantasy and excitement. I love it that the colors are not desaturated. I heard people say that it's too not bright. There were moments where I saw the screen change. One moment in very particular where I saw the whole room change from this little bit desaturated pink to this bright, vivacious pink that was just beautiful. And they do a lot with color in that way, especially regarding the sun. When the sun is setting or the sun is rising, you're seeing a lot of those moments there. I just I couldn't say enough about this, but I will say it seems like Universal Studios has a very clear understanding that this could be a very, very big movie and will be a very, very big movie, and that all of these sets were made to become another park place to come in and actually see these sets. I mean, they could take the sets that they've built, and I'm sure they have floor plans for them, and they could just move them over into the parks and create an immersive and beautiful experience of you going to Shiz and of you being at the Emerald City and actually seeing these incredible sets. Even seeing, like, having gone to Harry Potter World, there are even books that both the books move and the pages move, and you see little things that happen on the page. Those things could easily be practical things that could change and could be found in a theme park environment where you could walk around a la Wizarding World. Wizarding World's everything. It's very, very similar to that kind of a feel, and it's incredible to be immersed in. I would absolutely pay top dollar to be a part of that without any hesitation whatsoever. Even down to Universal Studios having trains that they use for Harry Potter. This is the exact same. You could, again, feel the Harry Potter because they actually made a 2-ton train for this movie to create this immersive set piece. And it's glistening and it's beautiful, and it's beyond what anybody could expect altogether. By the end, like I said, I went with my friend to go see it, and he was immediately at the very end, no, you can't do this to me. It was so good. It was incredible. It's worthwhile to go see, and it's so much fun to watch. And like I said, when I went to go see the musical when I was a kid, I started out feeling skeptical of it. This musical started the same way. I started thinking, I don't know, maybe it's going to be a bit of a cheese fest. I'm not sure if it's going to be that good. I mean, the talent was already undeniable. I'm not saying anybody sounded bad or anything like that. I just wasn't sure that I was really going to be immersed in it. And I had huge expectations for this movie. So if it wasn't going to meet my absolutely huge expectations, that was going to worry me, and I was going to kind of be like, I don't know if I really could say that this movie is incredible, but it delivered in every possible way. And by the end, but in the middle, I was bawling, and by the end, I was just cheering, and I wanted to stand up for musical numbers. Oh, I did also want to say one of the most standout moments of this entire movie too was once again during Dancing Through Life. It's a song that they have sung by Fierro. And there are some of the most incredible practical sets that are moving. So there's this choreography on these turning contraptions, some incredible viewpoints with the cameras, watching things turn, dancing that's happening. It just blew my mind. It's funny because I've heard Cynthia and Ariana talk about how the standout performer, honestly, which is the guy from Bridgerton, I forget his name right now, Jonathan Bailey. I think it's Jonathan Bailey. He like slides a book open with his feet. I didn't find that impressive at all. It's funny because they were like I've heard them in interviews say like that was the impressive part. That's not impressive at all in comparison to the rest of the stuff that happens during that song. The beginning of that song is bonkers. It's beyond what you would expect at all. So anyway, all the way through, that being said, I highly recommend going to see this movie. And yes, this isn't what my normal content is like. My normal content on this channel is me talking about theme parks. But once again, you heard me talk about theme parks in this movie about a musical, because this movie is, I mean, if it's not set for a Universal Studios park, I will be absolutely, completely confounded. If they don't have a Universal park that is a Wicked-inspired Universal park in 10 years, nay, maybe 5 years even, I will be absolutely, like, just destroyed. I'll be completely surprised, because with the amount that they're moving and the amount that they need incredible IP, they're going to find a way to make this a world that you need to go into, whether it's at Universal Studios Florida or California or someplace down in Texas, because they've opened several parks, or they are opening several parks down there also. But if you have gone to see this movie, please let me know what your thoughts are. Do you like this musical? And also tell me if you've seen the original musical, if you liked it. My friend here, he's not seen the musical at all. He's never seen the Broadway version at all, and wasn't quite sure what he'd think of it either, but has absolutely, it floored him also. So, and like I said, my expectations were massive, but it met those expectations in every possible way. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. Press that subscribe button, like button, and if you like things about theme parks, definitely please subscribe. I'll be talking all kinds of stuff about Universal. Well, maybe we'll get down to Florida this year. I hope I get to. But we'll definitely be talking about Cedar Point and Kings Island and all kinds of stuff coming. But yeah, I definitely love this movie, and let me know what you guys think. And let's go. Hey, thanks for watching. I release theme park related videos at least a couple times a week, so press that subscribe button if you made it this far. Also, check out similar videos in the playlist to the right, or find my newest video to the left. Thanks again, and let's go.